this week on Days of Our Mercedes. The Silver Arrows begin another season of Formula One racing as they prepare for a bounce-back season after their disappointing 2022 season that saw their streak of 8 straight constructor championships come to a crashing halt. It was also a season where their lead driver, Sir Lewis Hamilton, the leader of men, would suffer his first winless season of his Formula One career. Of course, Lewis had a very quiet off-season, until ESPN started simping for him again for the 1 millionth goddamn time, as he spent much of his off-season training in Antarctica with fucking penguins. Of fucking course, Lewis is training with the penguins. Of course, during the off-season, Lewis Hamilton would also make some appearances on the newest season of F1 Drive to Survive, as Lewis Hamilton would claim that he is coming to get the championship he was robbed of in 2021. You mean the championship you fucking pissed away off your incompetence? Yeah, you could blame F1 for manipulating the outcome of that race all you fucking want, because that was kind of bullshit what the FIA did there. But at the end of the day, Lewis Hamilton had all fucking season in 2021, and he failed to take advantage of it. Like, he had all year, he had all of 2021 to get as big of a points gap as possible, to where he can't lose from the FIA dictating the outcome of the race in the championship. And Lewis failed to take advantage of it. Like, forget it, Lewis, and all the Lewis Hamilton fans. You aren't being handed the 2021 championship. You gotta go fucking earn it on the track like you earned it the last decade. And of course, during the offseason, Lewis Hamilton would say that Mercedes would not only beat the Red Bulls in the constructor standings, they would also beat the Ferraris in the constructor standings, beating both of them, and Lewis would finally get that 8th title. Because Lewis Hamilton totally didn't say this same fucking thing last year. And look how that ended for him. And then after preseason testing and after the first practice session in Bahrain, Lewis Hamilton would then immediately backtrack and say that the Mercedes cars are still struggling with pace and it's going to be a rough season. Oh, now a vintage Lewis Hamilton backpedaling when he realized his equipment can't back up his talk. Because Lewis will only talk that much shit if he had the equipment to back it up. And they still don't have the equipment. So the Silver Arrows still got a bit some catching up to do as we prepare for the first race of the season, as we head to Bahrain. Of course, for Bahrain has been a very good track for the Silver Arrows. Of course, last year they got a podium off a Red Bull for not having a proper engine at the time. But the Silver Arrows would struggle on pace, even at one point getting outpaced by Fernando Alonso and his Aston Martin? What? Since when the fuck did Aston Martin become good? What? Was it really all it took for Aston Martin to be good, which was Brandon Alonso? Weird. But one thing that wasn't weird was the first 2 rows being locked out by the Red Bulls and the Ferraris, respectively. As reigning Formula One World Champion Max Verstappen begins his title defense, as Verstappen looks for his 3rd straight championship. And Verstappen, he would get the pole and he had the car in the field, as he would pull away right on the opening start of the race. Despite Charles Leclerc's best attempts to keep up with him, it wasn't enough. And then, of course, late in the race, Leclerc would suffer a power unit failure that would take him out of position, which meant that Red Bull was going to effectively have a 1-2 finish, since the Red Bulls have the fastest car on track. But then the question was who would end up in 3rd, as 3rd on back was going to be the most interesting battle of this race. As 3rd would be a battle between Carlos Sainz of Ferrari, Sir Lewis Hamilton with the Silver Arrows, the leader of men, and Fernando Alonso in his Aston Martin, as Fernando was able to back up his fast pace in practice and his good qualifying run to get himself in position for the podium. As Fernando, he would work his way past Carlos, and then he would have another fierce battle with Lewis Hamilton. We get another chapter in the famous Alonso-Hamilton rivalry. And in this one, usually the script has said that Lewis Hamilton will come on top in this situation. But the script did not factor in how much days of our Mercedes has impacted the Silver Arrows as a massive distraction to them. And it's a massive distraction to where Fernando would capitalize and take the podium spot from Lewis Hamilton. And then to add insult to injury, Lewis Hamilton would then get past Carlos Sainz in his Ferrari. Well, at least there's one Ferrari car that doesn't have reliability issues. But even with Leclerc out, and even with Ferrari firing Binotto in the offseason, Ferrari's still gonna Ferrari. But in the end, Max Verstappen would begin his title defense on the right foot, as Verstappen would end up winning the Bahrain Grand Prix, finally winning the Bahrain Grand Prix after many attempts to trying to win and failing to get it done. Perez would come home second, and then the main highlight, the only real positive to come out of this race, was Fernando Alonso returning to the podium, as Alonso will get his first podium finish since Qatar 2021. So Alonso makes it to the podium for his first race with Aston Martin. So far, not bad. But Verstappen, he begins his title defense with the win in Bahrain, as he was very uncontested and went to one of the easiest wins. Like, once Leclerc had the power unit failure, it was just an easy cruise for Verstappen to the win.
Cut that bitch off!
Whoa, hold the fuck up. Why are we still playing the old Super Max song? Did the Pit Stop Boys make that new Max Verstappen Yo Hey Yo Ho song from 2021? Yeah, we have the new Verstappen song. We don't need this old crap anymore. We're retiring that old one. Hey, monkeys in the back smoking my weed. Play the new goddamn Super Max clip right now. We have it now. Roll it.
Yo hey, yo ho, super much, super much, yo hey, yo ho, super much, super much, yo hey, yo ho, super much, super much, yo hey, yo ho, super
So Max Verstappen begins his title defense with a win in Bahrain, as now he is 1-for-1 so far this season in this 23-race marathon that ends all the way at Abu Dhabi at the end of November this time. Because now the season no longer ends in December. It now ends on the final weekend in November now. But Verstappen wins, Perez gets P2, so Red Bull got maximum points as they also take a dominant lead in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, for the Silver Arrows, Lewis Hamilton would end up 5th and Russell would end up not far behind in 6th. So they still got decent points from a solid weekend. But they still end up 3rd in the Constructors' standings behind Aston Martin. Aston Martin is now 2nd in the Constructors' standings after the opening race, because Lance Stroll had a solid run with one hand. Okay. Kind of weird, but okay. But yeah, As this year, it looks like Red Bull is probably going to win their Constructors title for the second straight year. As, of course, George Russell would then make a bold claim after the race. As Russell would claim that Red Bull is going to win every single race this year. And Verstappen might become the first driver in F1 history to have a perfect season. George. As accurate as that statement might be, he isn't going to win every fucking race. But Red Bull's probably going to win a majority of the races this year. They're probably going to win well over half the schedule. With the other half being split between Red Bull, Mercedes, and probably maybe Aston Martin if Alonso could get a win. Or maybe Lancelot Stroll finally gets his F1 win. Or maybe an Alpine wins, or some other backmarker team finally bullshits their way to a win. But yeah, you wanna know how you know this season's gonna be rough for F1? When you already know who's gonna be the champion after one fucking race. Like, the only interest, like, we already know the top two in the championship are gonna be Verstappen and Perez. Like, the only interesting battles this year is gonna be who finishes second in the Constructors' Championship, and who finishes third on down in the Drivers' Championship. Because this is Red Bull's championship to lose easily this year. Because the Red Bulls easily have the best car, because Mercedes have no pace, and are full of drama as long as Lewis Hamilton is still on that team. And Ferrari gonna Ferrari. But yeah, you want championship predictions? Who gives a shit? Max Verstappen's winning his third straight championship handily this year. But yeah. Will the Silver Arrows figure it out? Will Lewis Hamilton finally end his winless streak? Tune in to find out this season. Because like the sands in the hourglass, so too are the days of our Mercedes. Have fans still not realized that seasons like 2021 don't happen often?